Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to The Real Boys, the #1 podcast regarding reels and weird stuff on film. I am Phil Better. I am joined by a myriad of amazing podcasters. Guys, how about we sound off with Zach friggin' Wiseman starting the pack?
Yo, hey, what's up, everybody? Zach Wiseman. Obviously, you can see or / hear me at everything that Some Nobodies does with my my boy Dylan over here. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this movie. It's good and bad at the same time. I'm into it.
I forgot to say the name of the movie. The movie we're reviewing is my top 3 movie, The Departed, taking place in Boston. I can't really do any accents, but the other guy, how about you just quickly introduce yourself as the other guy?
Hi, I'm Dylan. I also do Some Nobody stuff with Zach. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got.
That's all you got.
I'm the
all
other
right.
guy. I'm the other guy.
I'll jump to the other crew down below. We got DL Smokes. How about you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us what we know.
Well, I am DL Smokes, host of Oops Caught Me Smoking, and the co-host of Bet That with my friend over there.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, let's jump over to him, Jerry and Blaze from the Cloud Chronicle podcast. How about you give us a quick intro, brother?
Like you said, you know the name, you know the podcast, and Bet That with Dan and Jerry, and of course, my favorite, The Real Boys with these knuckleheads.
Yes, and then we got the angriest man and oldest man on the internet, Michael Colby. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Yeah, I'm with Zach pretty much 100% on how he put this. I liked a good chunk of this movie, and I hated a good chunk of this movie.
Surprise, surprise! You hate a movie of mine.
I think it's more of a surprise that I liked a movie of yours.
Yeah. I agree.
Sorry,
with
it's been a while that we've reviewed a movie of mine that you liked. So,
yeah.
Michael, do you want to start off giving us your first impressions of the movie?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this once because I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I feel like I do lately. The amount of homophobic slurs in this is fine, or it's not fine. It's a lot. It's fine because for the most part, all of these characters are scum-sucking pigs.
Yeah.
And I hated all of them. But then you get one very big one by the guy who's supposed to be the hero of your movie at the end. I think the one guy that you're supposed to like just drops that hard T F-bomb and it sucked because up until then I was like, oh, this guy is all right. Like I felt for him. But then it's like, oh, fuck, he's just another one. It was just weird because lately we're like, oh, yeah, this is a product of its time. But this is a movie from 2007, and it's set at the time. These guys are using cell phones, but this is a police force full of white guys, no women, one black guy. And then when they have a reveal, spoiler alert, a reveal at the end of another guy who's working with the bad guys, I'm like, I have no idea who this is because everybody on this police force looks exactly the same.
Welcome to Boston.
It was his buddy from Training, which I only caught on this viewing.
Yeah. Well, also like Sullivan, like Matt Damon's character was supposed to be gay or something. There's some secret undertones that he was gay, which, obviously in Boston, cops are not allowed to be gay. That's illegal, I think. So
apparently they're also not allowed to be female or anything except white.
Yeah. Well,
verify me. Okay, yeah.
Was she a cop or she was a counselor?
No, she was a doctor. Yeah,
the one female character, like literally one female character in this movie.
Yeah.
And she's
there was Gwen.
Like Scorsese, whatever, that stuff works in an Italian mobster movie, but it felt weird in this Boston cop movie set in 2007 because Boston is a huge, fairly diverse city. You can't tell me that all the cops in Boston are just white guys.
Is it 2007?
It's 2006. That's when the movie was released. At least.
No. When it's set in, because the beginning of the movie, for no reason whatsoever, starts with the Boston bus riots, which nobody ever in the world has heard of the Boston bus riots. So unless you know that, then you don't really know even what year it is. But that was 1974. So when does the majority of this movie take place?
According to the Departed Wiki, which exists, 2006.
Because
September.
what it is they're taking on the real life Winter Hill Gang. So I guess what they're doing is they're taking the story of what happened then, bringing it up to modern time, and because the people who were involved were white cisgendered men, they couldn't bring in women because it wouldn't fit the framework of the Winter Hill Gang. So they're like, this is what the best we can do, and they're like, this is what we're going to do. Like, yeah, there may have been one or two, non-cis white gendered guys in it, but the whole story takes place back in the 60s and like that, when it was only a white man's game, in being a police force. So it would have been weird if you have that intermingled in here, and you're like, that doesn't fit like a female character to do if they're pulling off what like Matt Damon's character is doing or something like that. It's going to feel weird because it is a remake of Eternal Affair in Hong Kong's Eternal Affair.
Yeah, and
which was slightly better.
Yes, of course.
That's fine
Slightly.
if like the main gang, if the main like crew is all white guys, whatever, but they show a bunch of things at the police station and you see like the entire police station and it's still all just white guys.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper to hire white guys because we're so many of us. Like that, it's copy paste.
Explains why I never got my
definitely more the paste part of that.
Yes.
So I also like the original cast. Like when this movie was first being developed, I don't know if you guys know this, but the original Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon were actually Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, which would have been a really interesting movie. But Tom Cruise actually pulled out later on, and Brad Pitt turned it into a producer because he really, really wanted to be a part of this thing, which is cool. So Brad Pitt's company is one of the production companies of this movie.
Nice.
But also, this movie happens to be my second favorite Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Michael, do you know what the other one is?
No, because I've said it before. I avoid Mark Wahlberg movies like the fucking plague.
No,
so you've never seen another.
Confidential.
Like this is the first movie. This is the first movie that I've seen. This is the first time that I saw this movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So Phil, why is this movie your number 3 favorite film?
It's like a basic. So I read up on the Winter Hill Gang because it was part of my sociology project, the Irish mob in Boston and how it reflected back with the IRA struggle for freedom. So I had this big collection of books on the Winter Hill Gang and everything there. And so when I heard that it was being developed and it was going to be around a similar thing that happened with the Winter Hill Gang, I watched it, and when Scorsese was a part of it, it's like you can't really go wrong. Like Scorsese is going to give you a great movie and that you're going to enjoy because all the actors are going to give their 110% to this god of directors.
Yeah, except Alec, what's his name?
Baldwin?
Alec Baldwin doing the absolute worst Boston accent I've ever heard.
Yeah. No, the accents in this movie were kind of like, oh my God, I'm hurting. I love how Mark Wahlberg just was like, I can just talk normally. Yes. And
finally.
Matt Damon as well.
Matt Damon as well, where
he was like,
told him like, tone it down a little bit. He goes, I don't know, this is how I talk.
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
It's a pretty good Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is everybody's like favorite part of this movie? Like the people who have seen it, like Michael, you seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
What is one of the parts that you enjoyed in this movie?
I actually enjoyed most of this movie. Like 3/4 of this movie I really liked. The entire first 40 minutes, I'm going to say, was not only like it padded the runtime, but also everything that happened in that first 40 minutes was explained through dialogue throughout the rest of the movie. And I actually thought it would have been more interesting to have had like Matt Damon's character working with Jack Nicholson as like a reveal rather than knowing it throughout the entire movie. And then the ending was so rushed. Like, I actually have a lot of questions about the ending that I'm hoping that you guys.
Wow.
I actually like Martin Sheen was, I think, my favorite character in this, but his death scene was very like effective. And when Leonardo DiCaprio turns that corner and gets exploded like Martin Sheen brains all over him, I was like, holy shit. So I think I agree. I think that was my favorite part of the movie.
That sequence that leads up to it, the happening of it, and then the follow-up where the guy on the couch is like, I gave you the wrong address, you showed up at the right place, dude, and then he dies. I love that whole sequence of events because it's such a convoluted way that is believable to get all of the characters in the same spot. Everybody's lying to each other, but it winds up working out in a way that feels believable in the fiction of the movie, which I really liked. It felt like a real life synchronicity, which a lot of times feels forced, but I think Scorsese managed to get it feeling pretty natural in that sequence.
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing was that Leonardo DiCaprio is such a good actor that he was definitely playing somebody who was acting as, you know, a gangster who was actually a cop. And it made me nervous every time he was talking to Jack Nicholson, because it's like, you can see that he's lying, which I imagine was like a movie thing to be like, this is what I'm doing. But it still made me, I'm like, you're going to get found out at any second in this movie.
You actually cared about Leonardo, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I did. Like, I thought, like I said, the middle, actually the last 3/4 of this movie were fantastic. The actual like meat of the story of Damon and DiCaprio, like
cat and mouse.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Like I said, the first 40 minutes was like bloated and unnecessary. Hour. And the ending was so rushed that I didn't understand what was happening.
So I have a question for you guys. Just as Michael was talking about how the first 40 is a bloated mess. If they started with, you not knowing Leo or Matt is both are moles in essence in each different organizations, and you go along, and then you hit the moment where it's revealed, like you get like a moment reveal, and then they kind of give you the beginning. They put the beginning there where you see him leading up to the start of the movie. Would you guys have been more impressed with something like that?
No, I think the problem with the beginning, like 30 to 40 minutes, is the editing. The editing is so weird that you kind of don't understand what the timing is, because like I said, it starts with the 1974 bus riots, right? Which is a weird way to start a movie because it has nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. It is one of the weirdest openings because I'm like, okay, I guess I'm in Boston in 74, but I know for a fact this movie has not. Then you hop into Matt Damon and Leo, and they're both in training to become police officers, right? And then there's like, they're both training. They're training. And then it skips ahead, and Matt Damon now is done training, and he's doing a field test while Leo is still training to become a police officer. Then it cuts to Matt Damon, who is now being promoted to detective, and it cuts back to Leo, who is still training to be a police detective or a police officer. But the thing is, like, those, they make it seem like those are the same timeline, but it's actually not. They're like 4 years difference. And then like every time they do like time hops, like the scene where Leo is in prison is only 4 quick scenes
Yep.
that I think is 4 months. And it's like he gets checked in, he works out, he does paperwork, and then he checks out. And it's like, I think that was 4 months or maybe 5 months. I have no idea. So like the thing is like the timing just feels so off in the beginning that you have to focus on every little thing because you don't really know when and why things are happening. But once it gets going right around that hour mark, it starts like chugging along. And then it's like, whoa, okay, this is a really fantastically done movie. And you can easily see why it has won Oscars and why it's Scorsese's only Oscar winning movie. But I'll say on the rewatch, I saw it when it first came out. I was like, this movie's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Classic Scorsese. Love it, love it, love it. On the rewatch, I noticed a couple things. Once, like, again, like the editing in the beginning. Also, every time somebody dies, and I looked this up also, but every time somebody dies on screen, there is a letter X somewhere, which is a real cool. And it's called like the X effect. And apparently, like Scorsese did it in honor of like other directors before him. But if you rewatch it again, there's always a letter X on screen somewhere whenever someone dies, which is cool. But I will say on the rewatch, I feel that Jack Nicholson is really overacting. Like that dude is really
I
doing.
loved it. I love Nicholson in this movie.
I love when he
I don't
turns it up to
know.
10.
I buy it.
I don't know.
I buy it as him being an old school crime boss who is an informant who knows that he's being targeted and knows that his time is up, and has also set up everybody in his gang to take the fall with him when he dies. And this is at the end of his career, and he's losing it.
And he doesn't give a flying fuck.
He's
All
starting
right,
to
but
see
Phil-
the knot untangle.
Phil, if you are a fan of this real story, you know that Jack Nicholson is not playing that character whatsoever.
He is not. No,
He is
I
only
know
playing
he's not
pissed off,
because
drunk Jack Nicholson.
He's
this
playing
is-
the Joker from the 1989.
yeah,
Batman.
he's playing a guy who sniffed up way. Yes, I agree. He should have won for Goodfella.
Yeah,
who's
the Oscar
done
for
way
this,
too-
they did say was sort of a lifetime achievement award
Well, I
because
mean, this movie won 4 Oscars, though.
yeah, he definitely has better movies than this, like
Yeah.
It's
for sure.
consolation prizes. It's like how
Yeah, because they're like, we don't know how many you
got.
got left in you. This is a really great fucking movie you did here. We're gonna give you one just in case.
You know what's a better movie of Scorsese? Not
It's a
Goodfellas. Not Goodfellas.
Long Walk Short
Goodfellas is
Pier,
a good movie.
Wiseman. Long Walk
Goodfellas.
Short Pier.
Goodfellas a poop movie.
It's a good movie.
Nah, that movie's a poop.
The blow sucked, but yeah, Goodfellas was good.
I like Casino.
Who invites you? Who invites you to these things?
Casino is the best.
Put this
Casino is the
together.
best gangster movie, and I'll fight anyone with that.
Casino's way up there.
Yeah, fully. Ow, Zach, that's painful seeing that. That's painful.
No,
No spoilers.
Painful. No
We're not doing
spoilers, but
reels
it's
tonight.
painful for me.
Hey, change my mind then. Change my mind.
Well, you have Jack Nicholson just being Jack Nicholson. Like if you are a fan of Jack Nicholson, you have to love him in this role where he
Okay.
has to turn it to
Keep
10.
in mind, Jack Nicholson was asked to wear a Boston Red Sox hat in this movie, and he downright refused, so much so that he refused to look at the script after somebody asked him to wear a Boston Red Sox hat. He also wore every other hat that he possibly could find to prove that he didn't mind wearing a hat, just would not wear a Boston Red Sox hat, and actually improv the majority of his lines, which is very weird.
I loved him in that bucket hat. It was so stupid.
I love that he was just fucking with it. Like you knew it was just added to the character because it was like this guy who like you guys have said, like he's at the end of his career. He doesn't give a fuck. He's taking everyone down with him. So he's like, I'm gonna have as much fucking fun. And it plays into Jack Nicholson refusing to wear the Boston Red Sox hat. Like it plays it. Just though knowing those things makes this movie so much better.
Maybe.
Yeah, there was what Zach said something about the editing, and I did notice an editing thing with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like they did a weird like quick cutaways, and it was just when he was on screen, and I got it after about 3 times that he was on screen. I'm like, they're showing his anxiety, like things are sort of cutting around and doing all sorts of stuff. but it's so confusing those first couple of times. Like,
yeah, there's with the editing, they're trying to set you up to feel like you get the same anxiety because you're like, oh my god, this is so fucking annoying. So it just builds you up.
Yeah, and it really worked. Yeah. But it took a couple of times to notice that it was just when Leo was on screen, and it was just when he was like doing his, like when he was manic, because they didn't do it after he takes the pills. They didn't do it, but while he's manic, they're cutting to all sorts of stuff that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get what he's doing, and it was like really cool. But I hated it the first couple of times because I'm like, is this what this movie is? But then it wasn't, and it was great.
I think my favorite scene, the scene that when I rewatched it, like just really sucked me back in, was when Leonardo Dicaprio, when he orders cranberry juice, and the guy next to him is like, "Oh, my wife, gives her a period," and then he just smashes that glass on his head. I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm back in. Here's some Scorsese right here.
Random violence is, of course, what brings Zach into the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, random violence against a-holes for no reason is what Zach is into. But also, a quick question, Phil: why does Jack Nicholson trust Leo? Because, like, in the movie, like, okay, so the way it works out is Leo, he beats up two gangsters, right? He beats up two of Nicholson's dudes, and then I think he starts selling drugs, which doesn't really do anything, but then he meets Nicholson, and Nicholson's like, I think you're a rat and you beat up two of my guys, and he's like, nah, that ain't me. and Nicholson's like,
riveting accents, by the way.
Yeah,
on par.
Oh yeah, wow, go park your car over here because you're one of us now. You jamook. I don't know what Boston
why don't you call your mother?
Yeah, I'll give you $1. I'll give you $1.
I'll give you $1 to park your car.
It doesn't seem. Also, yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, phenomenal job. But I don't understand why Nicholson put him in the fold so fast, because it's like he suspected him of being a rat. He only did rat stuff, and then he's like, "All right, you can be one of us. Look at my hats."
Family connection. He knew his dad or his uncle or something.
Yeah, there was that familiar thing. He knew his family was a bunch of crooks. And his dad was the only guy who was like a straight-laced guy. So he knows if this guy is lying to me, it's going to be easy to tell because his dad is such a straight-laced person. So he's like, this guy is probably the only motherfucker I can trust in this place because he's not a criminal. He didn't grow up in that life. But he understands the life because he spent some time on this side of the side of the city.
So other than Michael, is this the first time anyone else has seen this movie?
At one point in college, I wound up owning 2 copies of this DVD.
Jesus,
I don't know how.
Who did you steal
2 copies of this in college. I think of my friend across the hall. I think I wound up with his copy. But no, I've seen this movie a whole bunch.
Yeah,
Jaren, what did you think of it?
Yeah,
I love this movie. It's I didn't. It's okay movie. It had some parts where it was kind of confusing, but towards the end, like after I guess the last hour, maybe hour and 20 minutes, it turned out pretty well. The whole domino effect at the end, where Leo gets shot, and then the homeboy from the back gets shot, then that dude, then Damon kills that dude. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like
and the whole Mr. French
the last thing. 5 minutes. It's like, oh, you're like, holy fuck, and you're like, Matt Damon fully thinks he's got away with it. He's like, great, nothing to worry about, and then opens the door, and then you just got Marky Mark there, just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. Speaking of scum sucking pigs, I hated Mark Wahlberg's character in this
I love
movie.
it. It's so
good. That was the point.
He was so like, this was the first time I saw Mark Wahlberg, like, and I was like, oh, he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally the first time.
He's properly used in this movie. He's doing exactly what he should be doing.
Yeah, but why?
It's a scumbag.
That brings it back to the question earlier, favorite parts, which never made it down to the bottom part of the screen. But anyways, moving on. My favorite part would be the part where he got his screen, the end where Mark Wahlberg blew Leo away. That was literally my favorite part.
Yeah.
Back to you guys.
The Mr. French part where Leo hits that dude, and he's like, I'm not saying this is the dude that you can't hit. I'm also saying this is the guy that you can hit. But I'm just saying, don't hit this guy.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, what are you drinking? He's like, cranberry juice. And he's like, are you on your fucking period? The comment that started the whole thing, so it was funny.
Yeah. So okay. All right. Can we since we're jumping around?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yeah. I mean, we can't talk about the first 40 minutes of this movie. It's like training. It's like
all set up.
It's like a 40-minute training montage. And then what do we have? We have Matt Damon works for Jack Nicholson. DiCaprio's in Nicholson's gang, but he's informing to the police.
Yes.
Like, so
under his mother's maiden name, so that no one knows it's him.
Yeah, it's just like that scene where, like, I liked the buildup of them like sort of getting close to each other, because it does take a while before they start to figure out, have any sort of clues. And that one scene where I forget what, in the porn theater where Matt Damon is
I love that. It's so funny.
You just wanted to talk about that part. Shut up.
He's like talking to Nicholson in the thing, and then Leo's watching him, and then like you can't see who's who, and then they're looking at, like, that was tension. Like, that was maybe the most.
Hey.
Uh-oh. Wow,
Yeah,
greatest
dude.
movie of all time. That's going a little far.
FBI informant bros. Is that us? Which one of us is an informant?
Well, I think he was saying he was an informant.
You have to tell the truth
Oh.
if you ask.
Yeah, that's the one.
You have to say you are.
You have to
I am
admit
glad
you're a
nobody
cop
said
if they
that
ask
stupid
you.
shit in this movie.
Yeah.
If you're a cop, you gotta tell me.
Yeah. You can't give me a ticket if you don't wear a hat.
Am I being detained?
Now you are.
Oh, great.
Yeah, there was not a lot of police brutality in this movie, which I don't
No
know.
black people.
That's true. Where?
Well,
The only black person was wearing a badge, so he was protected for once.
Matt Damon's
Yeah,
character does
except
make
he
a
was-
joke. He does make a joke about arresting innocent people, so they know about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is definitely like not a cop movie.
Right.
It's set
It's a
up
crime
in
movie.
yeah,
It's a crime movie. It's not putting the cops in a good light either. So it's
Yeah.
like both sides. It's showing like they're useless, or well, not useless, but
Nope, useless. You're right. Nope, don't take it back. You were right the first time.
One hand
but,
washes the other. One
yeah, that's
can't
what it
exist
is.
without the other. So
But yeah, I guess I'm just trying to figure out why this was set in Boston with all these like horrible Boston accents with these New York actors.
because Jack Nicholson is all you need in a movie, and it's great.
I mean, if you're doing a dirty street level crime movie, you set it in Boston. Like
Yeah,
New York
like
is
everybody's-
too glitzy, blue collar.
It's
Not blue
cleaned
collar,
up. Like if you're back in the 90s, yes, you're putting a movie. If it's based in the 90s, the New York is where you want, because that's where all the sludge is. But once crooked Giuliani came in and cleaned it up, just shoveled everything over into Hell's Kitchen and lower parts of the city, you have to go to Boston.
I love how the Canadian knows more about American than we do.
We have to.
I mean,
it's
he's
for
not-
our survival.
He's
Thank you.
not
We have
wrong.
to know who you guys are pissing
No,
off.
no, he's not. I'm just trying to say it's funny.
Our survival.
Phil's right. 90s New York, you set your crime movie there. 80s New York or LA, you set your crime movie there.
Yeah.
2000s, you're
You're doing
starting to
Boston.
set it in Boston. Or like
Chicago.
Atlanta, if you're being really kind of like hipster about it.
Yeah.
But yeah. As for the accents,
Oh God.
it's a part of the movie. I like it. Whatever.
Yeah. I guess it just depended. And also, why couldn't they just like, if you can't do the Boston accent, just make that particular person, just make that Alec Baldwin be from New York.
Ray
Oh yeah, because
Winstone.
that would just be perfect. A New York cop in a Boston department. Yeah, okay.
Well, he
That's
was
happening.
kind of like I didn't really notice anything that he really did in the movie anyway. Like Alec Baldwin was sort of like, I know he was high ranking, but he didn't really do anything.
Well,
That's
he's a
what
hero in a
high-ranking
different
police
movie.
officers do. Just like CEOs, presidents of company, they don't do anything. They
All
get
right,
other
Phil.
people to do all the work.
All right, Phil, maybe I'm getting you over to my side a little bit.
No, I always agree. Why do you think I want to be a billionaire so I don't have to fucking work anymore? I get other people to do the job for me. Like, hello.
Oh no, you're going to so you do think that these high-ranking officials are the smart ones, making everybody else do their work for them.
Work smarter, not harder.
Oof.
Dude.
Okay.
Dream. I mean, American Dream.
Around here somewhere.
Okay, so the ending.
The ending. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get there. Michael's like, I want to end this cesspool of a
No.
movie.
I don't want to end this. It was the only thing. Like, I understood everything that happened in the movie until these last couple of minutes.
Sure.
Until Leo and Matt Damon are up on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
They get into the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
They come downstairs. Leo gets capped
Which blew me away, by the
Spoilers.
way.
by
2006. Come on, like spoiler. I'm sorry. It's more than a decade old. You're
I mean,
fucked.
if people are watching this, like, sorry if you don't know what the show is, but we talk about the entire movie.
Yeah.
So
there's-
Leo gets capped.
Yeah, that shocked me. That was like,
Spoiler.
holy shit, like out of nowhere. Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
spoilers.
No, I was
For the
definitely
spoilers for the
shocked.
rest of the fucking episode. Jesus.
But now, so now we have this guy who, like I said, I didn't recognize, but apparently
That was
he's
the
one
point.
that came up with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
just
that's
looked
the
like
point. You're
everybody
not, the point of it was like, you're not supposed to know how many informants are like actually in the police department. So that's what it was. Like, that's what you're not supposed to know who this was. It's just this person that you kind of saw, maybe you kind of remembered, maybe not.
Yeah,
And then he just
definitely
comes out.
not.
Yeah, well,
He's the guy that Damon always gives a hard time about, like, why are you coming here dressed like you're going to invade Poland? Do some work. You might get an office or something. He's that guy who is given a hard time throughout and then winds up saving him at the end.
Okay.
The first time he needs saving. He looks a little
Did
bit like
anyone
Robert
else
Patrick.
appreciate? Oh, I'm sorry, Dylan. Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
that's all I had to say. From Terminator 2. He looks a bit like the bad guy from Terminator 2.
yeah,
Oh, was that Robert Patrick?
it
No,
wasn't.
but it
No,
looks
Oh,
like
okay.
it looks like him.
He
Jesus.
does look like him.
Jaren,
I
what
was
were you
just
going to say?
Go ahead,
I
Jerry.
really loved how the cops were always fighting. Like, always fighting. Did anybody else not find that funny? I thought that was hilarious.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they were
it was-
always fighting amongst themselves. Like, always.
Departmental
I
rivalries
might have
and shit
liked
like
Mark-
that.
I might have liked Mark Wahlberg's character, giving shit to all of the other cops.
Yeah.
If it would have been anybody besides Mark Wahlberg. I just can't stand his face.
You're like, this character is awesome. I just hate the actor.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Any other actor? He's like, I'll forget. What if it was Matt Damon?
If it was Matt Damon, I don't buy Matt Damon, just like I don't buy Tom Cruise as an action star. I don't buy Matt Damon as the bad guy or any sort of like jerk.
Okay, who would you cast if you could recast Mark Wahlberg's the actor Mark Wahlberg in this movie? Who would you cast in place?
All right, I'm gonna need to think about that, but
Well, if you come
Like,
up with
almost-
if you're going to only have problems and not solutions, Michael, I don't know if you can be part of this.
I mean,
program
I'm gonna
anymore.
say, all right. Well, then in
Michael
that
Caine.
case,
Mike, oh,
I'm gonna say Bruce Campbell.
Bruce
I buy
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell as an asshole.
Bruce Campbell.
Huh.
It's no.
Put him in a cop uniform, talk some shit. He did it in Spider-Man. Like, make him
I
that
so hope
character
he's in the
from
new
the first
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I
the
so
snooty
hope
waiter.
he's in the new Spider-Man. It would be just awesome, just like him being kind of like just the Stan Lee cameo of the Spider-Man universe. It would be great. Anyways,
Yeah.
sorry.
I think Bruce
Bruce
Campbell
Campbell-
should take over as the cameo guy in Marvel movies.
But it's Bruce Campbell as Stan Lee.
Bruce Campbell as Stan. I don't care. Just
yeah,
give me
and
more Bruce
multiverse
Campbell. in
Stan Lee.
movies.
Yes, let's go. Let's start the petition, fans. Someone started, and we'll share it.
Yes, let's start. Actually, I really like that idea. Let's start a petition. So
You just want to start a petition. You don't care what it's about. You're like, I want to start a petition again.
So Leonardo DiCaprio gets fucking brained in this elevator. We find out that
Starting to think that's your favorite part of the movie.
that not the T-1000 is also an informant for Jack Nicholson's gang. And then the one black guy in the movie comes down, also gets immediately murdered. And then Matt Damon murders not T-1000.
Yes.
Now, the only person besides the people in what happened that know that Matt Damon is the informant is supposedly his girlfriend who has that stuff that Leo gave him. Is she the one who gave up that information? Is that how Mark Wahlberg knew? So that Mark Wahlberg could go to Matt Damon's house and murder him?
He read it in that
put a hat on and run away?
Didn't he read it in some journal? Like, wasn't there that little journal that was like, oh, yeah.
Because you have Leo who caught Wahlberg's character, recognized him as a statey, and then wrote in his journal, and that's how.
The one I think Leo busted that one dude, like that one random guy who's like, I know Matt Damon, he's a cop or something, right? Like, wasn't there that one random guy that they like kind of that like ratted on the one dude?
The guy who died on the couch?
I don't think so. Oh crap! I don't know. I'll look it up. Hang on a second.
So what we're saying is, if there was any evidence that Mark Wahlberg knew what was going on, it was hidden, it was short, and it was convoluted.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Like a Scorsese's film.
Okay.
Wasn't it the whole reason why that chick existed in this movie, though, was to hand over the evidence to him? Because isn't that how Mark Wahlberg got it?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's how. And he read it in the journal. The journal had the journal entry had it that said Mark Wahlberg's character. No, sorry, that Matt Damon's character was the rat. So Mark Wahlberg found that out in Leonardo DiCaprio's journal.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, sorry, it's an old
him in the
nickname
90s.
from when he started acting. I couldn't stand him, and I can't say his name right anymore.
This episode.
All right, me and Phil are on the same page again.
It's like Basketball Diaries was kind of iffy.
No, I actually. What's funny is when I saw him in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, I didn't realize he wasn't a person with a low IQ because he played it so well. And then I saw him in like Basketball Diaries and then Romeo and Juliet and then Titanic, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was so confused.
I am glad that Leonardo DiCaprio was the one who got famous, because there was a time there in the 90s where it was between him and Eddie Furlong who were going to be the bigger star. And Eddie Furlong is such a shit that I'm glad he became a fat nobody doing nothing nowhere.
Yeah,
made his money off the T2 though.
I'm sure he has plenty of money. Plus, he made that shitty Brain Scan movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
And he was in what, American History X
from that movie.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, everything that he's in is bad. And he makes Terminator 2 worse by being in it.
I thought the girl that played Sarah Connor made it worse, but yeah, I can see that too. He screams a lot.
Oh, he's the worst.
His puberty scream it was all scratchy and raspy.
All right, sorry I made everybody think about Eddie Furlong.
Next.
It's okay. We needed to chew up time, and Michael, you're always available if Zach's not angry.
I always like have the two of them together, Eddie Furlong and Leonardo DiCaprio.
You have them posted up on your walls? Do you have a post them up?
My sister did have a poster of Eddie Furlong up on her wall.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I don't know why people watch us.
There are 5 of them here, so
I love every single one of you guys. If you're watching live, hit us with a hashtag live. If you're for some reason watching the replay, hashtag replay. Let's get on. My least favorite Leonardo DiCaprio movie was The Great Gatsby. Yeah, not gonna.
Yeah, that was
The
terrible.
Great Gatsby is a miserable.
It's The
story
Great
to begin
Gatsby
with.
is the problem. Like it's such a
absolutely.
It's just Jaren's just like, yeah, I hate it when I had to read it in high school. It was the worst.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, the book was terrible too.
Yeah.
Dark Fate.
Zing. They only used footage from him when he was a kid. They didn't.
Oh,
use
boy.
That's pretty
I
good.
still don't want to see it.
Oh no, the first Michael, I'm telling you, the first I guess it's 10 minutes. Like it's the first 10 minutes, guys. About is the best thing. You'll enjoy it so much.
Michael, you might enjoy it, but the rest of the movie is
Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah, it's
the rest of the movie is kind of are you serious? Like this is a very poor attempt at a reboot, but I appreciate it because it's like you tried something, you swung for the fences. Congratulations for trying to pass on this legacy to the next generation, but just fucking scrap it and redo it. Like reboot it completely. Don't even touch Arnold. Like you're just destroying a legacy.
Yeah, after Terminator 3, I was completely out of that series. It went in my opinion, I love that first one because it's
first
a
two
horror
I
movie.
personally think are classic cinema for the new generation. Like it's not old school generation, it's our generation's classics.
I'll take that first one over the second one, but I like a good horror movie. I'm also a fan of Alien over Aliens.
Fully agree.
For the same exact reason.
Like I fully agree with you. Like Terminator, if I had to choose between T1 and T2, T1 all day, every day, because it has that. You have that feeling of oh my God, what the fuck's going on? And then it goes into more of an action movie and it leaves its roots. But I enjoy the action in T2 versus T1. Yeah. But that's all because it's more of an action movie. It's more my flavor of films. Yeah. But yeah.
So just like the action sequences in
The Departed.
That
only come at the end.
it really the action. I was actually gonna start this episode. I came in a little bit hot, but I was gonna say that I was just gonna hang back the entire episode and then only say everything I had to say in the last 3 minutes of the episode. So it would be more like this movie.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
There we go.
But I like to talk too much for that to happen.
Yeah.
As do nearly everybody on this podcast.
Why would we podcast if we
didn't? Yes, exactly.
Do you guys think this movie could be made today?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
We're about due for a remake. It's been 14 years, 15 years?
Yeah.
Is there a Departed 2?
There was supposed to. So wait, I was reading this. Hold on. So I had the wiki up as well.
Except it would probably be 3.5 hours this time because nobody can make a decently length movie anymore.
Although many of the key characters in the film are dead by the movie's end, there was a script written for a sequel. There was ultimately shelved due to the expensive and Scorsese's lack of interest in creating a sequel, which makes sense.
Has Scorsese done sequels?
I don't think Scorsese has done a sequel to one of his movies.
I know there is a sequel to Goodfellas. Zach, if you want to talk about that.
It's not done by Scorsese, though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so.
No, I don't think he has done a sequel.
I don't think he's done one sequel to one of his movies.
Little Mermaid 2?
Not a Scorsese film.
It's a thing, but it's not done by Scorsese.
No, he hasn't. I have his movies all here. From 1967, Who's That Knocking at My Door, all the way to 2019, The Irishman. There is not a single sequel to next to any of these movies.
That's why he's great.
Yeah. He's like, I make the perfect first movie. I don't need a sequel. Peace out.
Leave it alone.
So The Irishman is also a Scorsese movie.
A 15-hour movie.
A Scorsese miniseries.
I was going to ask, is that long? And are there bad Boston accents in that one too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
guys
also
are welcome
very-
for me taking that off my list.
and also very, very bad de-aging.
Oh yeah, it hurt me.
Oh
to look at
no,
That is
they
a-
do the
that is
de-aging
a-
thing.
Oh, for no reason. Like, it is weird.
Who are
that
they
movie is-
de-aging?
All of
both
them.
Joe Pesci, yeah, pretty much everybody, but mostly Pesci and De Niro.
Yeah.
For like 30 years.
Wow.
Like it's like they do it decades for like 4 decades, and yeah, it's not that good.
Okay, I did read one piece of trivia for this movie, and it's that Scorsese wanted Al Pacino to play the Jack Nicholson character.
Yeah.
That would have been way better.
Does anybody think that would be better?
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
It would
Yes.
have been a complete. It would have been a completely different toned movie. I find.
Oh, it would have been
Yeah.
completely different. Yeah,
It would have
The-
been.
the
I
pro-
would have felt more like.
The
hold
problem,
on.
the
Goodfellas, probably more of that that type of like serious nature, or Casino maybe.
yeah, because the problem that Pacino has is that he usually doesn't get with a director that he respects enough to listen. He just does what Pacino does. But with Scorsese can rein people in and get such a great acting performance out of them. Like, this is one of Wahlberg's best, even though Scorsese didn't like Wahlberg whatsoever. It's one of DiCaprio's best movies. Even Matt Damon's fairly decent in it. So like I think for a fact, like yeah, it would have been a lot better with Al Pacino in it, and probably even De Niro, because I think De Niro was originally supposed to be in this movie too. But yeah, Pacino can really bring it if he has to.
Yeah.
Oh no, I really like Pacino, but like I thought Jack Nicholson,
He was
scenes
too
were
comical for you in this movie.
He's too Jack Nicholson for me. He's not
Yeah.
acting. He's just being himself. And if you like this story and you understand who these people are, that's not how that character Frank was whatsoever. And he's just doing what he wanted to do. And I think that kind of pulls away. If you do know about this story, it should pull you out a little bit, because you're like, well, that's not what that was like.
Yeah.
Whereas Pacino, I think, would have played it way more gritty and way more, like, I think, accurate. But I mean, I
Stuck
like,
to the role a little bit more.
yeah.
I was already pulled out of it after the first 40 minutes, and he pulled me back in. So I think I needed that over the top Jack Nicholson to
Boost.
bring me back into this movie. Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, cutting audio. Who's?
Now, I did see Jerian and DL Smokes both nodding their heads that they would have rather had Al Pacino.
Yeah, for sure. Like Zach said, I think he would have stuck to the role a bit more, because it was just more like the Jack Nicholson that sits courtside at the Lakers. Is who he was playing in the movie. So
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
That's
the
it.
only person who didn't know the story, but I didn't know the story. So
Yeah,
I've been
I
kinda
didn't
listening to
either.
you guys fill me in on that. So I did kind of watch it from that aspect of not knowing the story. So now that I do know, I guess I definitely probably have to agree with you guys. He probably kind of hammed it up a little bit. You know, if the guy was supposed to be grittier, the Jack guy, that makes more sense. It makes him.
If you want an idea, it was watch the Johnny Depp movie Black Irish. No, not Black Irish.
Black Mass.
Black
Black
Mass.
Mass.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's who he was kind of like. That's what it was based on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was more of like this cold-blooded son of a bitch who's just like, don't fuck with me, and you terror.
Yeah.
But I guess what Jack Nicholson was kind of like playing was like that kind of character at the end of his life.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, A, Jack Nicholson turned this role down the first time he read the script. B, he didn't like the wardrobe whatsoever. C, he wanted a sex scene put in for him because he thought that he's never seen bad guys having romantic sex. So he thought a sex scene for his character would have been good. So he made
Fucking
Scorsese
Jack
write in a sex scene. So I think my problem with a lot of movies is that I look too much into movies, and I think that really jades my point of view. But
When I look into it, I just love it even more because it's just like, oh, that's great knowledge to know that. I like Jack Nicholson as an actor.
But you started by saying that you love this story so much, and that's why when this movie came out, you were so into it because you love this story.
So
but then you're
look,
like, I also love the fact
understand that
it's nowhere
artistic
near my story.
license is allowed.
Artistic license.
Yeah.
But if you're telling a story that's based on something, there's only so much artistic license you should be taking, or else you're changing the story.
That's 90% of based on true story movies anyways. The only thing that's true is the fucking name.
Yeah.
Generally.
So I already know, like, I know the story of the Winter Hill Gang. I know the history that happens in the Irish mob across most of North America. I know that, and already it's an exciting, crazy fucking story if you read it and you learn about it. Like the 5 Points Gang in New York, like which was based on where is it? Gangs of New York. Like, and Gangs of New York is nowhere close to what actually happened, but I love the fact that they took it and turned it to a 10 to an 11 because it just adds to this rich history. Jesus.
I think that's justified.
Yeah.
job,
And this is again like
without all of that, but okay.
without knowing the history. Like, if you wouldn't have said that this was based off of a true story, I would have had absolutely no idea. And I think it works as a movie. Like I said, I needed, like, personally, I needed that Jack Nicholson, turned up to 11 to get me back into that movie. If it would have been a stoic Al Pacino, I probably would have absolutely despised this movie because I would.
Jack Nicholson made Michael like one of my movies. I am excited for that. Let me have this W, damn it.
I hope
rarely
Jack
get it on this show.
I hope Jack Nicholson's in Boondock Saints, and I forgot.
No, another great actor, William Dafoe, is in it.
William
Billy
Dafoe
Connolly.
is a great actor. He is
I'm the only good part of that movie.
I am terrified to watch Boondock Saints again.
Don't worry,
Because I was mediocre on it the first time I watched.
Yeah, we got like 8 weeks. You're fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, we have a little bit.
And like
Yeah,
16 movies. You got 8 weeks and 16 movies to cleanse your palate.
I have a countdown on my cell phone of like when I have to watch Boondock Saints. I'm like, come on, man.
If you start the movie now, you'll finish it by the time it's do the review.
Is Boondock Saints fucking long too?
No,
8
no.
hours.
Nope. But
It's like 8 hours only.
It's like
It is very
episode
boring though, so
series.
you're gonna want to stop and
Shut
take a
up.
break.
It's like if you follow two vape bros into Spencer's Gifts for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
and
I'm
listen to them tell-
really looking
listen
forward to
tell
watching.
racist jokes.
I'm really looking forward to Norman Reedus's face telling racist and misogynistic jokes for fucking an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
But hey, we're Irish, so it's cool.
How Irish
Wait.
are you, Phil, that you have so
Wait.
many Irish movies in your...
Are all of
In
your
your
movies
top five.
Irish? What's your movies?
No.
What are the rest of your movies?
No, Clerks is in there. That's not Irish.
Clerks is in there.
Return of the Jedi,
But most of
I
my
think?
movies do take place in like New York, Boston area, so very Irish-centric cities.
Yeah.
Phil's a quarter Ewok. That's why.
This goddamn roast city on me all the fucking time. Jesus. Fucking was on a comedy show getting roasted, and now I'm back here getting roasted. Jesus.
Well, I see you brought that towel just in case. That's cool.
That's actually, we didn't tell you, Phil, but
Oh,
our
God,
next podcast, like after we're done, all of our Friday shows are roasting you.
Oh, yay. Yay. I love it.
Yeah, we review
I'll
all
cry
of
into my
your
money.
we review all of your 28 podcasts. A
Yeah.
week. Everybody is flamed up.
The Phil Better Review podcast.
Any of your podcasts making money?
No.
No,
No.
but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm having fun doing them.
That is important.
I'm having fun and I'm getting paid.
Including this one. I like
I'm
to.
just
very
banking.
important.
I'm just banking on impending global collapse.
That is my retirement. That's my retirement plan, is the global economic collapse and everybody just like living out of tents and like raiding each other for food.
Yeah, that's why I'm stocking up on Pogs right now.
That's going to be the currency of the future. Yes, ladies.
I'm telling you,
Pogs
it's
and
going to
beef
come back.
jerky.
It's
Seriously,
you got
it's
a lot of
gonna come
pogs
back in
your
a big way.
place.
I have a
Remember
lot of
They're
These
back.
are Slammers. Slammers were better.
Yeah, boy, those big heavy slammers. All right, boys,
Yeah.
we're coming
Things
up.
are
Let's get out of here and go
Yeah.
watch The Departed again.
Absolutely not. Never again.
All right, Dylan, you want to take care of that, like doing the magical thingy that you usually do? I think we're signing out.
Oh, are we doing this?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
The magic.
real.
All right, Zach, go ahead.
Oh, I'm big. All right. Hey, well, I'm Zach Wiseman. You can see me at somnobodies.com, all the weird stuff that Dylan writes. He is an amazing, accomplished writer. He has written things like Silicon Angels and Create Your Own Podventure and everything else that I've said, including all of our weird stuff on Talk and Stream, Twitch and Stream. Either way, I give this movie. I'm gonna say 7 out of 10 reels. It is a beautiful movie. I love Scorsese. Yeah, Phil did it. My initial problems were not that big of a deal. Phil has he has turned me around slightly. So 7 out of 10 reels for The Departed. It was a fun rewatch. Editing's weird, but Scorsese's a master, so I really can't say anything bad about that. But you can see me next Friday when we're talking about what is it? We're talking about on Friday.
I think it's
John dies
okay.
on the
John
end.
dies at the end.
And
We're
Robocop
finally
gets
doing
Game
it.
Day.
Get me out of here. I love you guys. I appreciate
You can also see Zach Wiseman on his Sega CD FMV game.
Bam.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Dylan. I'm also in Some Nobodies. I write in Apostrophes magazine sometimes. It's a monthly digital magazine. Find all of my board game, role playing game stuff at my handles on Vorpal Words. That's what it is. That's all I got. That's all I'm gonna say tonight. Bye, everybody.
Yo, I'm DL Smokes. You can catch me at Oops Copy Smoking every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Thursday on Bet That with Dan and Jaron, also 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, here Mondays and Fridays. You guys know what time it is because you watch the show. I'm going to give this. I was originally going to give this a 7.5, but looking at the private chat here, I see that Michael's got a 5. I gave it away. I'm sorry. So I'm going to bump it up to an 8.5 for you, Phil.
Yeah, boy. Here we go.
Like I said before, the first part of the movie was kind of bunked, but the last part of the movie kicked it off, and it's Scorsese. Come on. I'm out of here. Bye.
Love it. Jerry and Blaze, man. Still says DL Spokes down there, but that's cool because that's my partner. So, I can rock with that. Anyways, I'm Jerry and Blaze. I'm the black guy. So yeah, I love this movie. I'm just playing, man. So yeah, no, seriously, Phil, I had a 9. I'm gonna go 9.5, man, because I got Irish in me. So I gotta throw it up there a little bit for my brethren. So yeah, man, great film, great cast. I was really happy when I saw this as the movie we're gonna watch because I love these kind of movies. I love action or comedy. So and I like Scorsese. So man, great film. Good number 3, 9.5. Go Irish. Jerry and Blaze, Cloud Chronicles. Not oops, sorry, that's Dan stuff. Bet That with Dan and Jerry on Thursdays. And the Real Boys, like I always say with these knuckleheads, man. Peace. I'm out. Love you.
Michael Colby, the fun podcaster of the group. Catch me on Generation Clash. With my kid, we talk about music. I Love This Terrible Game, where we talk about terrible games. And then Real Boys, No Time to Binge on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex episodes coming out now. Everybody is trying to bump up the score because I gave it too low of a score. So I'm going to give it -1, and I'm going to give it a 4 because this is for a movie set in 2006. Some of this stuff is unforgivable. It also has a very bad first 40 minutes, and the ending is confusing as shit. I did like the movie, but just to even out my score with everybody else's, I'm going to give it a 4. So screw you, Phil.
An asshole. I hate you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Phil Better, the podcast mogul. I have multiple podcasts like everybody likes to tease me about. Best one to listen to is Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur podcast, where you can find out how entrepreneurs became the successes they are. This, even with Michael's downgrading, is 7.8 reels for The Departed with Mark Wahlberg and Leonardo DiCaprio, directed by Scorsese. Please make sure you follow us here at The Real Boys on all our socials. We love you all. And Dylan, do the ending thing. Make it all fancy. Make me look cool. You're not, are you? You're going to just make me...